Welcome to my dojo. This is Kung Fu Pizza Party, and I'm your host, Brandon Knight. And today, I am here to wrestle with one of the big questions of the martial arts. Namely, what is the best martial art? Here on Kung Fu Pizza Party, I seek to deliver high-flying action in 30 minutes or less and serve up some wisdom, one slice at a time. This question comes up all the time. It's one of the ones that is constantly being debated. And I've seen some chit-chat online recently of different people giving their takes on the best and also the worst. Usually this starts with the worst options. And since this has been going around lately, I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a stab at this. Now, there is something that I often say on my sister show, My Seminary Life, and it's this: I reserve the right to change my mind later. We are growing human beings. I am a growing, evolving human being, so there's a good chance that somewhere down the road I might sit down to do this again and say, hey, remember what I said in that last episode? Oh, you didn't because it was a while ago? Good, forget it. I think this now. But I had a good amount of time to prepare myself to kind of think through this a little bit. Very recently, I went on vacation to Pennsylvania to visit some family members, my in-laws, and it's a pretty long drive from where I'm at in Indiana to get to Pennsylvania. I mean, I have to drive through the vast wasteland that is Ohio and into the twisty, hilly, twirly-whirly world that is Pennsylvania. Hey, Pennsylvania, go home, you're drunk. I think you may have had one too many Yinglings when you were paving your road. So while I'm simultaneously trying to not fall asleep at the wheel and also not twist my way off into Amish paradise in a ditch, I was thinking through this whole... It gave me plenty of time to think through this idea of what is the best martial art. But the thing is, I wasn't so much concerned with answering what is the best martial art as much as I was thinking about how this question usually gets answered. That was the part, the answers that are normally given, there's something about them that, though they may have some truth to them, some accuracy to them, I think there is something deeper going on with the typical answers that are given to what is the best martial art. Now, depending on who you are or what arguments you may have heard before, listener, there's, I would say, maybe like two big ways that this question is normally answered. Maybe three, but there's like two or three typical answers. One answer is, and this is usually where I find myself personally, is there is no best martial art. There is no ideal, perfect martial art. There's not one martial art that if you take it, you will forever be prepared for any scenario. Best case scenario, the best martial art, you kind of have to like combine a few things together. Get a little bit of training from this, get a little bit of get good training from this, get good training from that, and over time you become a whole warrior, a holistic warrior. Another answer that is typically given is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Those guys swear by their art. And I know I've poked fun at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here and there on the show in the past. To their credit, especially like good old school Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, it is very effective. It would be one of the arts that I think if you're going to take my approach and have the more holistic warrior kind of mindset, yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to do you a lot of good. I don't think it's the end all be all, but it is usually treated as the end all be all, especially if paired with Muay Thai, when it comes to protecting yourself and answering the question of what is the best martial art. So my answer is a little bit more hippy dippy, everybody is cool, philosophical answer, whereas answer number 2 is more of like, no, it's this black and white, it is this, it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the end all be all. There is a third answer, and the third answer is a good answer. It's a practical answer, but I also think it's a bit of a cop-out. I think it's a little bit of like a backdoor way out. It's similar to my answer and the answer that some of us give of, you got to kind of like mix things. You have to be a literal mixed martial artist, mix some things together. And it's this: the best martial art is the best one that fits you. That is the best martial art. I think there is some wisdom, as I said, in that. And I'll say this, that's not the punchline of this episode. I know I try to do episodes in 30 minutes or less, and we're barely 7 minutes into this episode, but that there's something about that answer that I feel is a bit of a cop-out. What this answer is going for is that there are a lot of hoops, obstacles, stages of life, all these kinds of things. There are a lot of factors that contribute to actually choosing a martial art, from cost to your physical abilities, to what your purpose for doing martial arts would be, to availability in your community. Like, if you live in kind of the like suburbia style environment that I live in, you throw a rock out your window and you will hit a building that will teach Taekwondo, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or some form of karate. Like, if you live in suburbia, those are your options. And that might be it too. I've started to see Hapkido becoming another pretty common style to study as well. But if you don't live near or in a big city, your options are going to be limited. Martial art training has always been expensive. It has. It's always been, from gym memberships to, dues to uniforms, belt testings, cost for board breaks, sparring gear. It racks up quickly. And the economy blows right now. So if you just don't have the finances, then your option, even because I'm pretty skeptical of online martial art training. I am one of those old school, I guess, guys who will say, if you're going to do a martial art, you need to be doing it with other people. You need to be under an instructor of some sort, doing it with other people. Books are helpful, videos are helpful, but at the end of the day, you need to be doing it with other people. All that is to say, to try and be nuanced and accommodating to all the various factors that could contribute to somebody trying to decide what martial art to go with, telling them, hey, the best one is whatever is the best one for you, it's a good, sympathetic answer. Because for some people, if you're like a young kid listening to this show, which I don't think there are children, young people, the youngins, the looks-maxers, I don't think they're listening to this show. But, for a young person, prime of their life, yeah, go sign up for go find an MMA gym and go lift weights and train in MMA, do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, do Muay Thai, do all that kind of stuff. But if, maybe your athletic days are more behind you and, cost of living keeps going up, then maybe just taking some boxing classes at your local YMCA might be what you can do. And that's good too, because something, with restrictions, something is better than nothing. And maybe calling it a cop-out answer wasn't fair, now that I'm kind of sitting with this more. But I said a moment ago that it's a sympathetic answer. And I think it is. It's a good answer. And it's willing to acknowledge the fact that, hey, not everybody can go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Not everybody can go, I live near the city of Chicago, like within reasonable-ish driving. So there is more martial art options out there. But just with the stage of life that I'm in right now, I'm not really looking to cut 2 hours of commuting into my schedule to go do, capoeira. I've always wanted to do capoeira. I would love to finally train in it, but I don't have the bandwidth and gas money. I don't have the bandwidth or gas money to go do something like that. So, I push myself with my ninja. That's what I do. It's not even like a martial art as much as it is a martial art activity, a martial activity, if you will. And so that is to say that it's a good answer. It's a sympathetic answer. But I in all of this, I think there is something that there's an ingredient that we are missing. No, an ingredient that we're overlooking when we are answering this question, especially when we're coming at it from the more like no nonsense, black and white kind of answer when it comes to what is the best martial art. At the end of the day, martial arts, training in the martial arts has a lot of benefits. Various kinds of benefits, social benefits, physical, emotional, relational, all kinds of good things can come from doing the martial arts, especially if you're doing martial art training in a good environment. But one of the main factors is, you kind of want to be able to defend yourself a little bit, right? Or in certain cases, be able to win a fight in a cage, right? Like there's a purpose behind it. And I think as I'm winding my way through the state of Pennsylvania, I began to wonder if we have allowed being pragmatic to influence how we answer this question. Is the best martial art, should it be only measured by who has the best tools for me to win a fight? It's important, don't get me wrong, because that's like the main, kind of the main thrust, right? Is like you want to be able to defend yourself. You want to be able to win a fight in a cage or a boxing ring or whatever, right? Like the tools matter, but should the weight of the question be put on who has the best fighting tools? Who can give me the best tools to win a fight? Because the martial arts is more than just fighting, right? Forget about the benefits for a moment, like I mentioned a moment ago. The martial arts, yes, give you tools to be able to protect yourself. But in many cases, not all, but the majority of cases, there are philosophical and religious ties to those arts and or cultural ties to many, if not most, of the arts that are out there. And furthermore, it's art. Purpose for training in the martial arts is one of those factors that comes up in the more nuanced, the best martial art is whatever is the best one for you. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make here is that when we try to value the martial arts specifically through the lens of which art has the best tools to help me defend myself or to win a fight, we are, I think, appropriating things in certain contexts, because many arts have a lot of religious or philosophical symbolism built into it, or cultural things, customs built into it that to strip those down and to just take the tools that work best to help me win a fight, or to outright dismiss an art altogether because maybe their fighting tools are not needed in the modern context, but they still have a rich cultural history tied to it, or a rich philosophical or religious tie to it, then I think we are misrepresenting that art and letting pragmaticism, I think that's the word for it, get in the way of truly experiencing an art as it was intended to be. Let's look at a few examples. I keep bringing up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but let's look at a few examples here. When people talk about the worst martial art, usually, and I've even made some shots here on the show about it, it's Aikido. Aikido is often seen as like the worst. Tai Chi also comes up a lot, and people can run hot and cold when it comes to Wing Chun as well. Each one of those styles has art and culture and philosophy and religion tied to it that should be valued and should make the art worthy of our attention. I'm not as well versed in all three of those, but I have read The Art of Peace. I covered it here on the show before. It's a wonderful little manuscript. Aikido, may not actually translate very well into the modern context. And the guy who created it, a bit of a piece of work, but the philosophy put forward in The Art of Peace is very good. It is something about Aikido that makes it worthwhile. Or let's take a few other examples. Sumo, or training in almost any weapon. Okay. Sumo is sometimes seen as just like large Asian men pushing each other around in diapers, right? That's kind of the stereotype. It's almost treated as like the redhead stepchild of the martial arts. Like, yeah, sure, right? But if you actually like dive into sumo, which I have over the course of like the past year or so, not enough to really like talk about it too much on the show yet, but I've been kind of getting into it. My brother and my dad love sumo. They follow the whole tournament thing, all of it. So I've been kind of like poking my head in and out to try and figure it out. And there's actually like a lot of rich culture and customs built into sumo. It's not a diaper, by the way, although even producer Cooper, we were watching a sumo video on my phone the other day and he started giggling because, butt cheeks. He's 4. Butt cheeks are funny. I'm 32. Butt cheeks are funny. But there's a lot of culture, a lot of customs built into it, and it may not look like it during the course of a match, but there are actually techniques that they learn to trip and gain advantage of and toss and throw their opponent. Like, it's more than just trying to push and shove a larger man out of a ring. There's more to it than that. Or you look at a lot of like traditional martial art weapons, or even like historical European martial arts, outside of maybe footwork, training with a polearm or a broadsword or tonfas, there's very little ways that you can translate some of those more specialized weapons into normal everyday life. Eskrima, Kali, Arnis, whatever one it is, whatever one it is, as long as you're not challenging me to a death match, those kinds of like stick fighting styles, maybe even like bow staff, you could find ways to kind of translate some of that into just everyday household items, right? But more specialized, like the weapons you see in Kung Fu, styles, or like I said, the historical European martial arts, like, why learn to whip a whip a whip around. I don't know, because it's cool and I grew up watching Indiana Jones. Like, to solely boil down the conversation of what is the best martial art into what is the style that is going to give me the right tools to win a fight or to protect myself, which is important, I think is too narrow of a way to answer this question. And it gets so narrow that you may be appropriating someone else's culture or religious practices. Like, that's part of the reason why, and I think I've brought this up on the show before, why I've never really gone out of my way to learn Muay Thai here in the United States. Like, don't get me wrong, super effective, great style, but I don't want to just go to an MMA gym to learn the tools of Muay Thai completely stripped from its very deeply Buddhist ties that it does have. As already determined in the Are Martial Arts Demonic episode, I've already sold my soul to the devil, so I'd much rather, apparently, I would much rather do Muay Thai and be in a situation where I'm also learning about Buddhism than just learning how to throw an elbow from a guy. You know, like, don't get me wrong, he can throw a great elbow, he can throw a great knee, but there's more to it than that. And I brought up the art stuff, and we're starting to run out of time here, so I got to watch my time a little bit, but there is art. This is an art form. This is an expression of who you are. And yes, not all art is profitable, meaning not all art is put in a museum. I've gone to the Chicago Art Museum thing. It's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I've been to the art museum, and I can confirm there are no displays of Play-Doh sculptures. There's not. There's no Play-Doh. Okay? But creating with Play-Doh is still creating. It is still art. And so, yes, maybe some martial arts, sorry about it to some of you who practice these arts, but yeah, maybe not every martial art is worth hanging up in a museum. But that doesn't mean that there isn't still an expression of an individual through the way that they do their art form. And that is beautiful. And that is worth recognizing and worth celebrating. I will say this, just to be clear on one thing. Like I said, being able to protect yourself and those around you, or to win a fight if you're doing like cage fighting or boxing ring kind of thing, that is still important. And so I will make this one caveat and say, for these styles, that maybe the reason to train in them is more so because they are high value by way of culture and philosophy, but maybe lower in ways of this actually works by way of self-defense in the modern world. Take Aikido, for example. Then maybe, if you can, you do need to train in something else alongside of that. I will make that caveat. You know, if you've spent your life twirling around nunchucks like Nunchuck Tyler, cool, but maybe also go to the shooting range and learn how to fire a gun. Like, there is the caveat of you still need to be able to protect yourself. And so I think that is actually a better way to think about martial arts. Is, I say high value, even though that's like a whole manosphere thing. By the way, Andrew Tate and Tristan got arrested. Hooray! But it's high value seems a little wonky to speak about here, but you want to pick a martial art that has good techniques, rich in culture, rich in philosophy, rich or religion. And if it's kind of all over the place, like maybe it's got really good fighting skills, but, there's like nothing else really to it, then, think like maybe like a Krav Maga kind of situation, then maybe it would do you some good to actually go practice an art that is more traditional, that has a little bit more like culture and art and philosophy and religion baked into it. And if that's the more so the styles you have trained in, they're higher value in that and lesser in the modern warfare tactics approach, then yeah, it probably would do you some good to go train in like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu to get more of a better get some more tools for modern combat. So what is the best martial art? I don't know. I don't think there really is one. I think that's kind of the punchline that I'm getting at, because there's so many factors to take into consideration. And martial arts are more than just being able to have the best tools to win a fight. Like there's also culture, there's also religion, there's also art and philosophy and all these things that at the end of the day, to come back to what I said earlier of becoming a holistic warrior, you need all of that. That's why I try to balance out, I'll have a string of the movies that I love to talk about. And then like, here's a book, here's a book I read. I read words sometimes, folks. And, spend more time, less of just like mindless entertainment, and also a little bit of like, here's some good thought-provoking content for everybody. So anyway, like I said earlier, I reserve the right to change my mind later when I turn 42 and decide to start doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I will tell you all that is the best martial art. So in about 10 years from now, will I even still be doing this in 10 years? That's crazy to think about. Like I want to, don't get me wrong. I want to do this for as long as I can, but it's also kind of weird to think about it just like still going. Like, surely to goodness, I'll run out of movies. No, I won't. There's too many. At some point, I'm going to have to run out of movies. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. If you haven't yet already, please rate and review this podcast wherever you get your shows. Pass this episode along to a friend and check out the other great shows here on the Anizow Podcast Network, like Page and Pixel, The Other Guys. That's not a show. I just blanked on everyone else's show names. Page and Pixel, Systematic Geekology, Friday Night Frights, Why I Don't Like. Check out all of those shows. They're all nerdy. If you like nerdy stuff, like geeky stuff, if you like listening to people swear, definitely go listen to Page and Pixel. If you like listening to like thoughtful, geeky stuff, Systematic Geekology, y'all. Good stuff there. Very good. Very nice. Very evil. You can follow the show on Instagram at KungFuPizzaPrty and on Letterboxd, KungFuPizzaPrty, and follow my YouTube channel, Studio219, a place for faith and pop culture. This has been Kung Fu Pizza Party, where I've delivered high-flying action, checks watch, in 30 minutes or less, and served up some wisdom, I hope. Hopefully that wasn't just me babbling for 30 minutes. It usually is, though. Served up some wisdom, one slice at a time.